All right, so I know we talked in chapter 1 or in video 1 for chapter 7 about a lot about the Energy Star appliances is where we left off, talking about television, the washing machine, and refrigerators, how important those are and how much of a role they play in cutting back on the greenhouse gas emissions. And the last thing we're going to touch on just really briefly is the 3 R's. Again, keep in mind, being aware, being mindful, and knowing our facts. But reduce, reuse, recycle. All things that we have heard since we were little boys and little girls talking about reducing, reuse, and recycle. And this is something that I think we have to understand how big of a factor it is in that paper and plastic are one of the biggest producers of waste. Paper and plastic, huge producer of waste, and all we have to do is be mindful of how easy it is to help us understand how easy it is, to recycle. Just by simply recycling, what can we do with something so little like that? But I think it is important for us all to understand that although we know how important reducing, reusing, and recycle is, even as a state in Indiana, or maybe it's a county, but I live in Marion County, and recycling is not even free. You have to pay in order to recycle. Okay, it is a small fee, but it's also a lot of times people aren't willing to go out of their way to recycle because it's not a free service. Just recently there was a news story released that they had to take away recycling bins from the parking lots of like some of the Krogers or the grocery stores because people were just throwing trash in the recycle bin, and it was actually harming the recycling process. So just little things like that, understanding that just by putting the plastic bottle in the right container, or being aware of how much waste we have, could go a long way of being mindful and knowing our facts and understanding how much of a role that does play. I know a little bit earlier I talked about how paper and plastic was a huge portion of waste. And understanding, I was always shocked to find out that there's actually a major, there are people who go to school to major in packaging. And I never knew that until I had a friend that went ahead and majored in packaging. I said to her, Ashley, what are you majoring in? And she said, oh, packaging. I said, packaging? What do you do with a packaging degree? And she explained to me how they take the science side of the material that they're using to package materials or products with, and their goal is to get materials or packages packed with the least and best product for the environment, so the best type, and the least amount of it. So that is what they study. They study how can we change the milk container to make it so maybe we're using a tiny bit less plastic, but yet we're not losing any volume or amount of product. That is what she studied. She was studying that for 4 years. And now, given this was back in 2010 that she was in school, but if you go back that far, in 2010, which was just 8 years ago, there were only 4 universities that had packaging majors. Going from the top of my head, there was University of Wisconsin-Stout, New York Institute of Technology, Michigan State, and Clemson, I believe, was the other one. Now, if you Google packaging as a major, there would be more than 20 universities that offer it as a major. So that tells you how common of a concept this is becoming. So going back to the very basics, reduce, reuse, and recycle. If you can reduce the amount of waste we have, that's going to be best. If we can reuse so we're not constantly using new product. That's also great. And if we can make sure we recycle and make sure we understand the rules of recycling to help all of it and the greenhouse gases alone, that would be great. So reduce, reuse, recycle. Keep that fresh in your mind, making sure that we are aware, making sure we are mindful, making sure we know our facts. So that is a wrap for chapter 7. I will have one more video for chapter 8, and then we will do chapter 9 in class on Thursday. Have a great night.